I hate scammers. I know that may come as a bit of a shock, but some scams come in the form of a wolf disguised in sheep's clothing. And do you know who those scammers are? Art brands. Let me explain. We all know about working for exposure, right? Big company reaches out to you. They say that you do some work for them. They'll post your art on their platform. It'll be seen by thousands or millions of potential followers, right? We know that's a scam. How about when a company reaches out to you and offers a gift out of the absolute goodness of their hearts, and in return, you just need to use that gift and post it on your platform? This is also a scam. I very recently called out a big brand on my Instagram, and it got a huge reaction, much bigger than I was expecting, actually. I won't go into the details here, unless you want me to. But the main outcome was that so many artists wanted to know how to navigate brand deals, how to price their art, and figure out sponsorship rates, recognize scams, and basically a guided roadmap to get them all set when it comes to getting fairly paid for the work that they do. I'm not a marketing or a financial expert, but I am an artist who gets paid. So let's get into this. All of my art deals have come from being approached by email, and I'm going to guess that it's probably the same for you too. Most scams are really easy to spot, but it can be easy to forget in that moment of excitement. So here's what I look out for, and I'm going to show you. So I just have a selection here of, just from the last month or so, a couple of scams. I don't put them into a folder, it's just for the sake of this video. So the number one thing that every single time, it's the first thing you look for, and 9 times out of 10 is going to tell you if it's a scam or not. It's the email domain name. So it really should be a handle that is owned by the brand, and any personal addresses are an absolute no. So if you just go into this top one here, it is @lepost.net. That's just a personal email address. It's not from a company, and it's definitely not from GoPro, who are a big enough company that I think they would have their own brand email address. And then there's a double, look at this one, there's double email here from supposedly Susie. And look, filepromoters.com, starpowerpros.com, like these are all scams. It's just so easy to see just from the email address. If the email address does check out, then I will check the contents of the email. So is it relevant to my niche? Like, is it relevant to art? And was it sent by an actual person? I obviously still don't click on any links, or I wouldn't open any documents at this stage because, I'm really, I'm on edge, I'm suspicious. So I don't actually have any here, but I just wanted to show you this funny one. Obviously, the email doesn't check out, but Doritos, when have you ever seen me eat Doritos on channel? I love Doritos, but they wouldn't be reaching out to me. It doesn't make any sense. So dumb. Here's one from an art-related company. It's an Outlook address. I know some companies may not have a brand email address, but it's honestly not worth the risk. They should have one. If I need some extra reassurance, if I've gone through all of those checks and I just want to be completely safe before I click on anything that they have sent me, I will usually actually go to LinkedIn just to make sure that that person is a real person. From the legitimate emails that I have received before with companies that I have worked with, they do have LinkedIn profiles, and the reason why is they are in marketing and they always have LinkedIn profiles, like nearly all the time. So that's a really good tip as well. Just check LinkedIn just to see if that's a person. I get a lot of emails telling me that they want to help me improve my platform, improve my engagement. They might be real, but those types of companies, I don't think you want to get involved with them because they're probably just going to give you, like, you pay and you'll get fake followers or bots or whatever. I don't believe in them. You shouldn't either, I don't think. That's my advice. It's up to you. But yeah, I would ignore them too. Look, I know what I'm saying sounds very over the top, but scam tactics have grown massively, and a lot of the time, well, not a lot of the time, but they can be quite sophisticated. There have been times where I've got a message from Meta saying that, I'm entitled to a blue badge, and they'll use the banner and it'll look like a Meta address. There might be one letter out. So they're trying very hard to trick you. So you really do have to be vigilant. In my experience, a legitimate email from a company will obviously have the brand email address. They'll explain what they're looking from you in the collaboration, and they will be willing to discuss rates if they haven't already mentioned it. But if you bring it to them, they will be willing to discuss it, and they will be happy to provide as much information as possible. So yeah, you just have to use a little bit of common sense. Okay, so figuring out your rates. This is probably where most people want a little bit of advice, and I'm going to be honest, it's difficult, okay? So let's just say you've received an email that sounds good and you've done all your checks and you're happy to go forward, and you need to figure out your rates. It's tricky. I'm not going to lie, it is very, very tricky. There's no really set guidelines, apart from what you might find in Google. And it's really up to what you're willing to work for based on the work that you need to do. You can try to piece together a starting point, though, with a little bit of research and trying to figure out the impact that your platform is providing. So, look, I had no idea how to price anything. So I honestly just started Googling, and there are online calculators you can use, and they'll show you influencer rate bands based on your following, all that kind of stuff, but it's not entirely accurate. And it doesn't take into account what you feel comfortable actually working for, but it can give you some ideas. So first thing to note, and this is important, if you do decide to try and get a little bit of help with these sites, you are going to have to allow them access to your account, because that's how they pull all of the analytics. So if you're a very cautious person and don't want to do that, then that's fine, don't do it. But maybe this will help just seeing it in this video. So let's take a look at Social Blue Book. Now, first off, I'm not interested in paying any of these websites for full access, and neither should you. So we don't need to be scammed out of our money too, but yeah, they're not accurate, so that's why. Based on, this is looking at my YouTube. I don't have access to Instagram because I'm not paying for extra platforms, but it's telling me that for a dedicated YouTube video, I should be getting paid around 377 euros. That is absolutely ridiculous. I would never do a dedicated video for that kind of money. So let's just say it takes me 2 to 3 hours to create a piece of art with a brand's product. That's just standard, let's say. I then need to record that process and edit the video, obviously. Most of the time, I'm going to also have to do a voiceover, and then I have to do all the editing. Now, editing for me, I'm not a videographer. I'm not very, I'm getting better, but it's not my thing. I like to do art. So editing a video could take me anywhere between, depending on the complexity, 10 to 20 hours, which is a lot of time. So based on this 377 euros and the average time that I think it will take me to make the art, the video, everything, I would be making anywhere between 16 and 29 euros per hour making that video. It sounds okay, right? It sounds good. Well, consider the fact that the post or the video or whatever it is that you're making is going to sit on your platform for a certain amount of time. But let's face it, it's most likely going to be forever, because why would you delete it, right? That is constant advertisement for that company. And this is where the company sees your value. So on average, companies budget approximately 10% of their revenue just on advertising. I Googled that. It's anywhere between, 1% to 10% on average, depending on the size of the company. I just had a look at a company that I collaborated with this year, and their parent company surpassed 130 million euros in revenue this year. Let's be generous and say they spent 1% of that budget on advertising. That's 1.3 million euros. Imagine they paid someone 377 euros to advertise their product for the next 50 years. Doesn't that sound crazy? I know it sounds crazy to me. I can't tell you how much you need to charge, but I can tell you that these companies have the money and they have the budget for advertising. So you need to charge a price that you are happy to work for at an hourly rate, but also you need to add on that advertising fee. Anyway, moving on. Here's another calculator here. This is Inspire website. Now this is for my Instagram page, and this is for just a post. There's not much information here. Like I said, you have to take this with a grain of salt. It's just an idea. So it's telling me I can charge anywhere between 1.6 to 1.9 thousand per post. That's higher than what I would actually charge for a post. Now maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But like I said, whatever I'm happy to charge and what I'm happy to work for, that's what I'm doing. So there's two real kind of different ends of the spectrum here. Like that seems like a lot of money just for a post, whereas the other website was telling me 377 euros for a full dedicated video. It's not consistent, it's not accurate, but it might give you some idea of where maybe you can start pricing your platform and pricing your work, but also take into consideration what it is you want to be working for as an approximate hourly rate. The most important thing that you need to know and take away from this part is that companies will nearly always negotiate a lower rate. So you do need to make sure that your prices are a little bit higher just so you can drop them during negotiations if you need to. So let's say you have a general idea of your rates. You also need to kind of think about the services that you want to provide, because these all need their own prices as well. So let's just say for me, I offer affiliate link mentions, static posts of artwork like on Instagram or whatever platform, reels or other short videos, product integration videos, and then the big one is obviously a dedicated YouTube video. It's up to you to decide what it is you want to offer, but I'll just quickly break some of these down in case you don't really know what they are. So affiliate link mentions are basically just a code that you can offer to your followers to purchase the product. You'll usually get a small percentage of the sale, but remember, you're also advertising the company, so they have to cough up for you to do this. This hasn't been common for me on its own. In fact, no one has ever just reached out to me and said, we want to advertise an affiliate link on your profile. So it usually will get bundled in with a higher rate of work that I would do. So usually a dedicated video, I will throw in the affiliate link in there too. There's no extra work involved for adding the link, but for the sake of advertising, and if it was on its own, I would charge about 200 euros, because why not? Product integration videos are like what you see with, Skillshare, Squarespace, Millernote. They're all the ones that I've seen recently on other artists' page. And they are basically just like a 1 to 2 minute advertisement at the beginning or kind of in the middle of the video. And they are very popular ways to advertise because they're not as expensive as a dedicated video, but they are still reaching the same audience. So for me to edit a product integration into one of my videos using their video assets as well as, my own videos and a voiceover, it could probably take me maybe 2 to 3 hours to edit just a 90-second ad. So I would charge approximately about a quarter of what I charge for a dedicated video. Instagram posts or, any sort of static post, these are kind of tricky right now because everyone's so focused on reels. And for the average person, the value of a picture post, I think, has dropped. So far this year, any company that has contacted me has either asked for a reel or short video or a dedicated YouTube video. So it is very hard to price, and I find it difficult to price, but I would just price it like a regular commission with your extra advertising fee on top. So again, that's something that you need to decide in terms of your working hours, and then you add on that little bit extra because it's a brand who can afford to pay. Reels or short videos are time consuming to make, but you are not going to get paid as much as a dedicated long form video, obviously due to the fact that the brand isn't getting as much advertising time, and despite the fact that the shorter videos are more likely to go viral and get seen by a much larger audience. That's really annoying, but yeah, for me, I start charging above 1,000 euros when we get into video territory, so that's something to consider. And then the dedicated YouTube video is where the big money should be, and rightfully so. If you're not charging thousands at this point for this level of work, you kind of need to reconsider it. Now, obviously, this is just my opinion based on my experience and what I do. I am not telling you how much you need to charge. I'm just saying you need to charge something, okay? I'm just trying to give you some sort of guidelines based on what I've done. That's all just for base rates, no copyright included. If a brand wants a copyright license or any sort of rights to your videos or artwork or anything that you do, you need to add on a significant fee. And the fee also depends on the length of time that they want usage rights as well. So let's say we're talking in perpetuity, which means forever. You have to start thinking 5 figures because they have the rights to that forever. And you might not have any rights to it at all anymore. So you need to be getting a lot of money for that. And for, let's say, a few months up to a year, you definitely need to be getting at least 3 zeros at the end of your figure, okay? So you've got your rates figured out. What's next? You are going to need a media kit. So a media kit is basically your way of showing a prospective client who you are and like a mini portfolio of the work you do, what services you can offer, some of your most important analytics, because that is going to be important for them. You know, you can throw in other brands you've worked with. It's basically a mini sales pitch, and it gives them a first impression of who you are and what you can provide. I use Canva to create my media kit. The best part is that it's free, although you can upgrade to get access to more features, but I didn't. You can create just about anything in here, and they have a lot of templates that can give you some ideas on how to set up your own media kit. You can edit these to fit your own personal style. So if I just type in media kit here, and there's just so many, like there's a lot of free ones, there's also ones you have to pay for, but there are so many kits here, and it'll give you a really, really great idea of how you can structure your kit. Everything is fully customizable, so let's just go in, that's Pro. We don't want the Pro ones. If we just go into this one, customize this template, so you can see here that if this person, they have a little bit, they don't have anything there because it's just this template, but you can put your photo in there, all your stats, your portfolio, a little bit of your work. I click on this and you can change the colors. So it's, like I said, you can change everything. So it's really, really helpful. You could mix and match, across different templates. So look, I'm not going to keep going on about it. It's really good. It's what I used. I spent probably about a day, like a full day, trying to organize my media kit. But it is so worth putting in the time to try and get it right, because I add my services, my rates, and it helps me get straight to the point when I'm dealing with brands during the negotiation stage. So the reason why I like to have a document-based kit is because I can attach it in a file to the brand during emails, obviously, but I also feel like it's more professional and personal because I've created it myself. It kind of has that personal touch. However, you can also have automated media kits. So if we go in here, so I was Googling and I found this one. Now this is Beacons. And again, they will need access to all of your platforms because they need to pull the data across so that they know your analytics, they can display all of that. So again, bear that in mind. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it. Just go ahead with the document-based media kit. And you'll have to find out your analytics yourself, which is easy enough to do. I could go through that at a different time, maybe. So look, it does look really well put together, and it's obviously customizable because he has put in all the brand partners here. You can write a little bit about yourself, just like in the other kit, and it's showing, again, a bit of his portfolio with his videos. And then you can go into each platform. It's going to tell you all the stats. 53% engagement rate on Instagram is crazy good. Like, crazy good. What's a typical rate is 1.3%. That's crazy. So TikTok, Facebook. So yeah, look, you are going to get more information on here, obviously. It's more selective with my media kit. Like, I'm just showing my Instagram because normally brands find me through Instagram. So I just have my Instagram stats on there. But this way you can show all of your stats if that's what you want to do. I made one for myself, and look, it does the job just fine. It does the job fine. You know, here's all of my platforms. They're all here, and it's fine. You know, I keep saying it's fine, but it's missing the personal touch that I prefer. So yes, like I said, a lot more information here for the brands, which I know is what they want. But at the end of the day, you are also the selling point behind your account, because your followers don't go out and buy products because of your numbers. They're also invested in you and your art. So that's kind of why I prefer my media kit. Okay, so negotiating deals. You have your rates figured out, you have your media kit, and hopefully an email from a company who wants to work with you. So what's next is navigating negotiations. So a company is hardly ever going to tell you up front how much their budget is for the project. They're never going to do that. Obviously, they want to spend as little as possible. So I tend to negotiate on the more aggressive side. And what I mean by that is I don't want to waste time going backward and forward with emails, trying to kind of suss each other out and figure it out. I just want to know whether or not they're wasting my time. So it's not the approach for everyone. I understand that, but that's just how I roll. So what I will usually do is I will thank them for contacting me and for issuing me with like all the information they've given me. And then I'll say, I'm happy to work with you, and I've attached my media kit for you to look at. And the companies who are willing to pay, they will respond. The ones who never had any intentions to pay will either not respond, or they will tell you that they are looking for just a gifted collaboration. Look, it's up to you to set the standard of whether or not you want to actually get paid, but you've done all of the work at this point, so why just accept a gift? The company has approached you because you have something that they want. Your platform and access to your audience. That is worth something. And if you think a gift with no monetary value is worth it, well, that's up to you. That is up to you. And if you're watching this video, I'm sure you want to get paid. I will give the gifted collaboration offers a chance. So I will ask then if they have a budget, and that I'd be willing to negotiate a rate that is fair and works for both of us. Sometimes they might come back with a rate, and most of the time it's nothing near what I want. But it's up to me to decide if I want the product enough for me to work for the reduced rate. 98% of the time I will walk away from the offer. It's just not worth it for me. I will thank them for their time, and I will let them know that they can keep in touch if their budget opens up a little bit more in the future. But let's move on to the real negotiations. So there are some very reputable companies out there who will pay and are willing to pay, and they recognize your worth as an artist and your platform's worth. So I've been lucky enough to work with a few of them, but they will negotiate. It'll never not happen, okay? And they will use your analytics as a way to lower the rate. So for example, they'll say, we want a long form dedicated YouTube video, but your views just aren't as high as your shorts, okay? I mean, if it's true, then that's fair, all right? I mean, they want a good return on investment, and the only way they can measure that is by how engaged your audience is. So for me, I want to retain as much as that higher rate as possible. So I might throw in a few extras to kind of sweeten the deal. So I might say something like, I'll make the video, but I'll also create a reel from the video and I will post that on my platforms because my short videos get a lot of views. So they get 2 videos for the price of my long form. And for me, I get the rate for the long form and I take some cuts of that video for the reels. Yes, they're not paying me now for the reel, but did I want to miss out on that long form money? Probably not. It's all down to what, like I keep saying this, but it's all down to what you are happy to work for. And, you know, I personally think about the bills that I have to pay and what I can do with the money from this deal. So trust me, for the amount of work it takes, I'm usually pretty happy throwing in something just to make sure I can get the deal. There's so many ways that you can bundle your services to try and keep your rates as high as possible during negotiations. But only if it's worth it, okay? I mean, I've heard of people accepting expensive gifts, like, you know, like cameras, like GoPros, but the contract said that they have to make 3 to 4 videos. I mean, at this point, you are way out of pocket, you know, in terms of your time. So yes, I have sometimes had to devalue my platform a little to get the deal. But I never, ever, ever devalue my time. It's just so, my time is so precious. So another example, okay, for the price of my long form video, I'll also share the artwork to some or all of my platforms at no additional cost. Yes, I've devalued my platform a little, but I'm getting the rate I want for the work that I'm going to be carrying out, and it's not wasting any extra time other than 5 minutes to post the artwork on my socials. This may or may not be good advice. It's up for you to decide, but it's worked for me. You know, I've been able to get these deals. I'm not wasting any additional time for less pay. It is hard to stand your ground, okay? And it's something you kind of need to get used to, assessing their reactions to your counter offers, but it does get easier. And the more you grow your platforms, the more emails you'll receive and the more practice you'll get at the negotiations. So I always go in with the mindset that I don't really have anything to lose, and I always have the choice to accept or reject an offer, and so do you. One thing I can't actually speak about is reaching out to companies. I haven't done it yet. I don't know, I'm too nervous to actually put myself out there and get rejected. But I am planning on doing it maybe from next year, because you can't just wait for companies to come to you sometimes, especially when this is your job. So I will update you guys on when I do that and how I get on with it, I guess, if it's a success or not. So yeah, look, I know I've gone into kind of details, but not actual details, because I can't give you values. I haven't given you like actual numbers because I can't. It depends. It depends on you, what you're happy to work for. It does depend on your platform. It depends on the size of your platform. So you do have to do some sort of research. But like I said, the calculators telling you how much you should charge, I mean, they're not accurate. You could probably look at 10 different sites that try and help you with that, and you're going to get wildly different results. So you just need to keep thinking of your time, your hours, and then you also have to add on that extra fee because those brands have to pay it for advertising. Okay, I hope this has been really helpful. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been with some of these brands reaching out to you. I'm very interested in knowing more because I've had to call one out, and I will probably call more out if I have to, because I'm so tired of artists not getting paid at all for doing so much work for these brands. And I know they can pay, they have the money to pay, but they just won't. And we need to kind of put our foot down and just say enough is enough. We need to get paid for the work we do. Anyway, I'm not going to get mad about it right now. I've already gotten mad about it. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.